Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Leadership Spotlight series with Positive Vibes. My name is Shivani, and I'm the co founder of Positive Vibes Consulting. We are an HR consulting firm offering corporate trainings, professional certification courses, and HR advisory services to corporate clients and business houses. It's a beautiful sunny afternoon here in Gurgaon today, and a very happy Valentine's Day to all of you. Valentine's Day is a day of love, and just like charity begins at home, the concept of love also begins with self. It's a day to celebrate relationships. But the most lasting relationship that we all have is with ourselves. Other relationships will come and go, but the one person with whom we will live till our death is myself. If I don't have a good relationship with myself, how can I have a good relationship with anyone else? In other words, if I don't have love for myself, how will I give it to anyone else? You cannot pour out from an empty vessel. So today, we are going to learn to appreciate and love ourselves, to have compassion for ourselves and others. And a key precursor for that is 360-degree wellness, which is an attitude of abundance and gratitude. If there is anything, I'm sure you all would agree with me that if there is anything that COVID 19 has taught us, it is the importance of holistic wellness, whether it is physical, emotional, financial, or spiritual. And today, I have with me a very accomplished and respected colleague, Gauri Das, who is going to share with us her thoughts and her own life experiences around the same. Gauri, let me introduce you to the audience here. Gauri is a strategic HR leader with around 14 years of experience in crafting and aligning HR strategy with business goals. She supports business leaders and individuals in driving performance and improving capabilities. She has many accolades to her credit, such as HR 100 Under 40, Top HR Mind of India, TAPI and Economic Times Young HR Leader Top 70, LinkedIn Person of the Year, and the list continues. She's a passionate speaker and has spoken on multiple national and international forums. She loves sharing knowledge bites and experiences on resilience, growth mindset, self-compassion, and motivation. She's also a lead member for Professional Speakers Association of India, Mumbai chapter, and a core committee member of Navi Mumbai LinkedIn Local. So Gauri, on behalf of Team Positive Vibes and all our audience here, I extend a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you so much, Shivani. What better than self-compassion on Valentine's Day? I just wrote a post an hour ago and I said, this Valentine's Day, love yourself. Thank you so much for lovely introduction.
Absolutely. And Valentine's Day should start with self-love, and then that love can be transferred to, others during the during the course of the Valentine's Day. So Gauri, we spoke about, self-compassion and self-love. But as a precursor to that, like I said, is wellness. And, I think before COVID-19, the concept of wellness was around physical fitness. But COVID has changed the concept of wellness, 360 degree. So I want to understand from you, what does wellness mean to you? What is your definition of wellness?
Brilliant question, Shivani, because wellness is something, as WHO defines it, it's not only absence of infirmity or diseases, but it is kind of having, for me, it's all 8 dimensions of our well-being. So, in 2 words, if I have to say, it's all about being happy, fulfilled. This is what wellness is for me. But I consider all 8 dimensions of wellness. It is not only about physical wellness, and even physical, we take it wrong many a times. We just focus on physical activity, nutrition these days, and especially Western food is what we focus on these days. But educate sleep is again one most important thing which many of us are either not able to manage or maybe it's not an our priority. So that is physical, and you rightly said COVID was all about taking care of this, and this trend is going to continue. So physical wellness, mental wellness, emotional. How do we have that resilience? Can we fight out situations because life keeps throwing it on us? It is also about environmental wellness. I remember my hostel days when I had to enter my room. I would dread this thought because my roommate would keep it messy. And the moment I would enter the room, I'll feel very bad about it. So I was not feeling happy, and that was again connected to wellness. So even environmental is critical. Social, we got to realize it very much during COVID times. That water cooler gupshup or that lunch together वो नहीं हो रहा था, and we were not at all happy about it. We were realizing कुछ तो missing है. You and I are connecting here on this platform, but it's not same as connecting physically. So that social connect is absolutely important for us. Financial, we realized people even at senior levels, they were found that if somebody lost their job, they were in a crisis situation in terms of financials. So how to take care of that, even fine if we are not worried on those fronts, we are happy about it. So that is another thing which is important. Occupational wellness also is critical, because if we are not in a situation where we are able to showcase our talent or do what we really want to do, then also it does not bring any happiness to us. Again, managing the work life balance is another thing which is important for us when it comes to wellness. So it's a mix of all of these, and we have to have a balanced approach. But for everybody, the situation would be different. Somebody who is a very highly paid corporate executive, we see that even they die or they commit suicide. So for them, the financials were not a problem. Maybe the problem lied in social or mental or physical also at times. So we heard people die even in gym. So for them, this was not the worry, but there was something which was not right. So we have to take care of all these elements, so we have overall well-being for ourselves.
Sure, sure. I think you've very beautifully captured the concept of wellness, because wellness is just not around being physically fit or having good food to eat or nutritional food to eat and doing some amount of meditation. I think pre-COVID, that was the notion of wellness,
Yes.
but it's now rightly pointed out that it is an amalgamation of a lot of things. Whether it is social, whether it is, and I think social needs is something that has really come out very strongly in these COVID times, because the one thing that we all missed was the physical touch, the human touch. And I so wish that today, this webinar that we are doing,
Yes.
I so this was a physical webinar, a physical conference, like a seminar, like a conversation, and not that we are doing sitting at our workstations and doing it over technology. So very, very beautifully captured the concept of wellness: physical, environmental, spiritual, emotional, social. It's an amalgamation of all these things. And just to also share my perspective, Gauri, I feel wellness is an overall happy state of mind, and I can have a happy state if I tick all the other boxes of wellness, which means I'm physically fit, which means my emotional needs are taken care of, financial needs are met, my spiritual and most importantly, my social needs are fulfilled. So basically, when I'm satisfied with having life, I think that is what wellness is all about. I'm happy in my own space. And wellness is also when I'm able to help others in having a happy state of mind. That is another dimension. I'll be able to achieve wellness when I'm able to help others in having that happy state of mind. So just wanted to add this dimension. My next question to you, Gauri, is around companies now these days are focusing on wellness. And especially during COVID times, we've seen a surge in not only physical health issues of employees, because people are stuck at home and long hours on the laptop, but also emotional and mental health issues, because we've sort of it was like a forced isolation from the social ties that we had earlier in the pre-COVID era. And a lot of companies took up wellness and emotional well-being initiatives during this time. But often what happens is we see that such programs are adopted for a certain period of time, and then they sort of fizzle out. So what is your suggestion on creating a culture of wellness in an organization?
Yeah, very pertinent question, Shivani, and especially in light of this challenge that we are facing in terms of COVID-19. Wellness has become a core area for organizations. HBR says that tomorrow we will be having somebody who will be wellness director, and they will be determining whether business continuity will remain or not. It is so critical.
Right.
Even today, while there is vaccine and there's a lot of positivity around it, numbers are dropping. But we still follow this business continuity planning, and everybody would not be in office together, because if
Right.
someone is infected, your business continuity would be a challenge. So that is from the side of organization why wellness is critical, and why it should not be only for a certain period of time. And from employee side, we have seen tough times here. Besides that, we need to vent out. That is something which is critical for us.
Absolutely.
We need to have that habits inculcated, and that's what employee experience, that EX that we talk about these days. So from both the sides, it's critical that we have this wellness culture. Now, in my experience, I'm seeing that the biggest challenge here is from both sides. One, we do have programs. So, what do we define as wellness culture? It would be kind of the policies, the values, the even the norms, not unsaid norms would be about wellness.
Right.
However, there is no push from top. So if you say that, like, there are a lot of organizations, I was talking to someone yesterday, they have a policy, wellness leave. And this wellness leave, no questions asked. So you can take as many leave. And one amongst them, a woman who is a senior level professional in that organization, she realized that people are not putting what is the challenge, because we want to hide these things, right? If it is even Zomato, they announced the leave, so we really don't want to come out of that shell, and it's still stigma, it's still taboo, and we don't want to talk about these things. So she started writing it that I'm having cramps and I can't attend office today, or I can't take your call today. This is the kind of thing that has to start from top, and that is how it would be percolated down. That is one. Second, how are you walking the talk? Do you tell your people that there's a canteen where you have samosa and vada and all of that stuff? And when you are working extra hours, you can go and you can have anything for free. Then you are again telling them that this is the stuff that is good for you and that will keep you energized to work long hours, and that's incentive. So what kind of incentive? Is it donut or it is salads? What do you have in your canteen? That's another thing. And again, I mean, the offtake has been very low when I look at these wellness programs in organizations, because people don't realize there are a lot of myths surrounding it. Number one is it would not get sorted. If it is especially mental challenge, it would not get sorted. So they think that there's no point investing time and energy in this. My boss would come to know, and then there will be discrimination. That is another thing. So here bosses have to take a step, and can I go tomorrow to office and tell my team that I am not feeling well, I need help, or I'm not feeling well, I would not be attending office, or somebody at my home is not well and I would not come to work because they need me. Can we do that? Can the leaders of the organization do that? Because if they do it, wellness will become a priority, and wellness will become a culture. Second, in terms of, I've seen gym memberships are given, club memberships are given where you can go and exercise, but again, the offtake is very low. So both sides, the management and employees have to come together and make it a reality that wellness is not only on paper, but we are living by it. That is when the wellness culture would be created, which is far dream at this point of time, despite COVID.
Absolutely, you're very right. On this point of gym memberships and club memberships, well, you're giving a gym membership, but you also need to give the time to avail that. So when a person is coming to work in the morning and leaving only at night, where is the time to go to the gym? So I think it's a sensitive decision. And you rightly said that it has to be, there has to be a certain amount of walking the talk by the top management, because if the leader sets an example of fitness and wellness, I think people will then follow suit. And the example of the canteen with samosas and vadas is a very pertinent one. because I think in most of the companies, this is what you get as snacks. And so on one side, you have you have a wellness program running, and on the other hand, your canteen is serving all this. So something that I think invariably people don't think about. So, but something
Yeah.
which is food for thought.
Yeah, so when somebody is running 100 kilometers and they are sharing that picture with you, cycling 100 kilometers, do you
Yeah.
really promote it the way you promote it when somebody is achieving their targets or surpassing them? That would
Absolutely.
define whether you have a wellness culture or you have an achievement culture.
Absolutely. You very, very, very well spoken, about the difference in wellness culture and achievement culture. And sometimes I feel, also it's like, peer pressure. Okay, so my, colleague or my boss is running in the Airtel Delhi marathon. So let me also do that.
Yeah,
Becomes and it is positive pressure. It's good to have this
correct.
kind of pressure. I've seen
Yeah.
in organizations, people actually have started forming buddy groups, like cycling groups and walking groups. And on weekends they get together and
Yes.
they go out and cycle together, jog together. Obviously, some of them I'm sure must be following it up with batata vada, but anyways, we are burning the calories.
Yes. Overall, the thought process is changing, and that's what is most welcome.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now, Gauri, we all know the benefits of having a 360-degree wellness for ourselves. But let me put the elephant on the table and ask that how can we possibly start a robust wellness regime for ourselves? We all know and appreciate why it's important to have a 360-degree wellness. But the question is, how do I start? How do I begin? So, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so I would again take a round around this wheel, the wellness wheel, 8 dimensions of it. I think we have to first identify what is most critical for us, because there's something which is bothering. Say if I have some ailment and I'm not taking care of that, but I'm going for meditation. Is
Right,
it the right? It's not. So let's start with physical because that's the most easy one. And the
right,
results are also very quick to come by in comparison to when you go for meditation or when you go for something else which will take a very long time to show results.
right,
Always believe that whenever you are doing something, if you start celebrating small successes, the motivation increases. So for
absolutely.
me, I'll tell you how it happens. I started with physical wellness first. So nutritions and not following anything which is guided as Western, because local food is what good for us. And I follow Rutuja Divekar on this, and she talks local. I mean, suggest everything local, and 7 times meal. So that's what physical, and then exercise, yoga. That also is critical. At least 5 times a day, we can start with that. But again, we have to be persistent. We have to be persistent, and we have to be self-compassionate. That scale may not change for even a month. It has
Right.
happened to me that there's no change. You are doing something wrong, because when I started with this, it's very funny, but this is how it happened. When I started with this 7 days a meal routine, my weight actually increased because I couldn't figure out how do I reduce the amount. So
Yeah.
I ended up eating
It's all
seven
about the
times a day.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's all about the quantity you rightly mentioned and the right food also. So there should be a mix. I'm a vegetarian, so that's another thing. So that is first. Once that started happening, I could see the change in myself. Others
Sure.
also could see the change in myself, the kind of energy that I would have, the kind of smile that I would bear all the time was actually coming from within. That was
Hmm.
stage one. And this I have been following for a very long time now. This is part of my life now. Then it came to kind of emotional wellness, spiritual also, because spiritual we don't come to know, but we
Absolutely.
are guided by it fully, because if we it's all about our values, our purpose. So when we take a decision which is in conflict with our values, we are not happy about it, but we don't come to know what's happening there, why we are not happy about a particular thing. But it is all about values and our purpose. If we are going against it, we will not be happy. So
Right.
yeah, mindfulness, meditation was another thing which I took up on. And it took me very long time to learn that, because keeping your mind, it's a thinking machine, right? So keeping it silent and keeping it here and now becomes critical.
Very true.
So yeah, but the moment I started, and once I had some amount of practice in it, I really started reaping benefits. The kind of relationships, the change in relationships was evident. As they say, meditation is not only about yourself, it
Hmm.
does help the people others also who are around you. So my daughter gave me first feedback on this, and she said that your anger has gone down, and I was not never too aggressive, but she said that if it was happening say once in 10 days, now it's happening once in a month. So that the kind of relationship change that I saw was amazing. And
Yes.
then so that's another part of it. Occupational, so besides working at office, I wanted to get more fulfillment, and that purpose also was driving me. So I
Hmm.
started working with students, mentoring them, professionals, mentoring them, sharing my thought process, my experience. All of us come with our own experiences, and
Right.
that's how we learn from each other, and also learning from others. So that gave me that kind of intellectual wellness, kind of occupational also. And overall, this is how my regime has been. So it's all about taking care of myself, and
Right.
self compassion. The importance of it cannot be overstated when it comes
Absolutely.
to our own well being. So that physical health, emotional, spiritual, everything, we have to focus on it.
Absolutely. And on one
Easy.
line,
Sorry.
I was saying I like on one line that you said, and that line is that I made it a part of my life. I think that's the key. It's very difficult to start. Uh, it's the hardest thing to start, but once you start it and you make it a part of your life, that's when I think in true sense you achieve.
Magic happens. Yes.
Absolutely. Whether it is getting up in the morning or evening. Well,
Yeah.
I'm not a morning person, honestly. I'm an
It's
evening person, so I do my workout in the evening. But it has to be, it has to be a part of the routine. And I think routine is very important. Again, structure is very important in
absolutely.
life. So people who are asking these questions around how do we start a physical wellness regime or even a meditation, like you said very rightly, meditation is, it just not benefits ourselves, but it benefits tremendously the people around us. In fact, they are the ones who benefit from it more than we do, because
Oh,
it
yeah.
wonders to our relationships with people, the way we react in situations. It really really impacts a lot on that. So very very pertinent points. There are questions that are coming in from our audience here today, and people are talking about anxiety, that right now there are higher levels of anxiety because there are things that are uncertain right now, and it's understandable, and people are feeling a sense of anxiousness or anxiety. So how does one manage that anxiety? How can one live in these tough times with anxiety is a part of life now? So how do we sort of learn to live with it?
Yeah, and I can relate it to my own experiences. There have been times like after break when I had to rejoin, or other times also, I have been very anxious to the extent that it has led to headaches and all sort of physical discomforts. So that was the kind of anxiety I used to have. So it's good to have some level of stress and some level of anxiety, like we say, positive stress, but it is extremely bad to get carried away with it, because
Absolutely.
we know. So here I rely on circle of control, internal circle of control and external circle of control. Whatever is in my hand, I would do best, and whatever is not in my hand, I would leave it to Almighty, because there are certain things about which I can't do anything. And
Yes.
though we have a lot of anxiety, it is actually going to impact us tomorrow. Tomorrow, the
Yes.
situation about which we are fretting about, it might get over, but
Yes.
the impact it will leave on our body, our mind, it would never get over. So let's think about it in this way. Again, mindfulness helps a lot here,
Mm.
because when you are mindful, you are not constantly thinking about that problem, and
Yeah.
rather you are accepting the fact that there are certain things, certain actions you can take. You take those actions, and then you focus on other things also, your purpose, your social life, and that definitely helps in reducing anxiety. So for me, if I read a book on a topic which I like, I really feel much better.
Right.
On days when I am more anxious, I double the time for my meditation, because that's a peaceful time, and I can really, when I'm done with meditation, I feel much better than how I was feeling earlier. So
Absolutely.
this thought process, and of course, again, self-compassion, because if I am not able to do something about a particular situation,
Yeah.
let it be. There will be some future tomorrow. I may not succeed in one thing, but I would do better next time in some other area. So anxiety, we have to really think about it. Whatever is in our control, let's take action on it. Whatever
Yes.
is not, let's leave and do something purposeful which keeps us occupied, and have let's invest in our relationships also.
Right. Absolutely. And I think my personal take on this is also that think of it as a phase that has come in your life. And it's like, like they say that if happy days haven't stayed, even the sad ones won't. And I
Yeah,
firmly believe in that because change is the only constant. It happens in
absolutely.
our life. All throughout our lives, there is change that is happening. So, believe in it, in this as a, accept it. First of all, I think the problem lies when we don't
Correct.
accept that it is a tough time, accept that this is not a normal year, and it is okay to be anxious. First of all, have an acceptance of being okay with it. And once that acceptance comes, then very beautifully you've put, Gauri, the circle of control. At times we tend to blame ourselves for everything, even for
Mm,
the things that we don't have control over. कि मेरे साथ
absolutely.
ये हुआ, हमारे साथ ऐसा इसलिए हुआ because it's not in
हमने
our
ये
control.
नहीं किया.
हमने नहीं किया, it's not in our control, it's destiny, it's
Yeah,
almighty, जो भी आप उसको बोलना चाहें. So sometimes we unnecessarily beat ourselves around things that are not in our control. So I think being mindful of that is very important, that blame yourself for only the things that you were not able to do which were in your control, and leave the rest to destiny. If things are not good today, they will become better tomorrow. There is definitely a light at the end of each tunnel. I'm a very strong
absolutely.
believer of that. And secondly, also, I feel, anxiety's biggest, I think the solution is to vent out, talk about it. A lot of times problems happen when people bottle up their emotions. Then it becomes like a pressure cooker. You keep, putting the pressure inside your head, and someday it will sort of burst out in the wrong way. So talk about it. Talk to people, talk to friends, reach out to as many people as possible, and share your anxiety. And you'll be surprised to, listen their stories as well,
Mm,
and you find yourself in a much better space. And be
yeah.
thankful for that. So that's something that I also wanted to share.
Yeah,
Um,
very well said, Shivani. Just to add, so what you said, it really made a lot of sense for me. And that's a second part of, I mean, self-compassion has three things to take care of. One is self-love, another one is being mindful, not being judgmental about things, and third is shared humanity. So the
yeah,
moment we understand that it's not happening only with us, it happens with
absolutely.
everybody around. I know your story. There have been ups and downs. Everybody has it, right? But you
Yeah.
have fought with them and you have come out as a winner. So when we understand that it's not only me, it's everybody who is facing it, how they are taking charge is what
Yeah.
is critical. And yeah, very important. Thank you so much for bringing it up.
And there is no success and no failure in this. There is
Yes,
no absolutely no that this person handles anxiety very well and this person handles anxiety really
cannot.
poorly.
Yeah.
It's all a myth. We all have our own ways of handling anxiety, and it's okay to be anxious at sometimes. So, which brings me to the topic of self compassion, Gauri, like you said. But you talked about these three concepts of self compassion. Would you like to elaborate a little bit more on what self compassion means to you? Self compassion. Some sort of experiences that you have had in your life, and how have you, more importantly, you know uh, how are you practicing self compassion? That is something that I'm sure the audience would like to know today from us?
Sure. For me, self-compassion is what do I tell us first thing and 10 more things when I goof up. So, for example, a few days ago, during one of my talks, it was a motivational talk, and I was wanting to tell everybody that we can achieve anything and everything if we want to, if we really put in efforts and we have the right intention. So, I wanted to end with this poem of Sohan Lal Chaturvedi, "Koshish karne walon ki kabhi haar nahi hoti." I'm sure you would have heard about it.
Yeah.
So this was a very important part of this overall thing, and we know end में जो punch होता है, that's very important. But I forgot that. I don't know how. And I ended up saying, telling my audience that please allow me a minute, and I'll look up for this particular stanza, and I'll come. So this was like an embarrassing moment because overall it was about motivation, and I couldn't recollect this particular line, which was my critical part of it. I mean, it was very critical part of the speech. Somebody came and told also that, oh, you forgot, but later on you managed it well. So it's like in that moment or after that speech, what did I tell myself? You goofed up, Gauri. You should not go for another discussion. Or I told that, okay, nahi yaad aaya mujhe. I looked up in the mobile and I shared it. Next time, maybe I can have a printout with me. That would help me better. So for me, this is definition of self-compassion. That do I mull over it and I always keep telling myself I'm useless. एक कविता नहीं याद रख सकती हो, speech क्या दोगी, right? Or do I say that नहीं हो गया अभी next time I'll keep a printout so it never happens. So this is self-compassion for me, and elaborating on the three elements of it. Number one is self-love. So I have a question for you, Shivani. We are friends, right? And we are working together in leaders lifting leaders also. Tomorrow I call you and say, Shivani, ये मैंने बहुत efforts किए थे, but I couldn't achieve this particular thing. What would you tell me?
So I would, as a friend, first of all, you are sharing it with me because you have that trust in me that I'm your friend, and there is a certain comfort level that you see, in our relationship. So my first reaction would be to give you some sort of a comfort that it's okay. You tried your best. It's okay if it didn't happen. The world doesn't come to an end if we fail in something. And that is what I would tell you as a friend, that it's okay. You have the capability to bounce back, and I have my belief in you, and you will bounce back. That is what I would tell you.
Okay. And at the same time, what I'm thinking about myself is I'm useless. Maybe I should have tried much more better. Maybe I didn't put in those efforts. Though सब कुछ किया होगा, फिर भी thought process would be like this, that I could have done this better. Sometimes it happens that somebody meets with an accident or incident happens, and the first advice, general advice, the natural instinct, we tell, अरे तुम्हें ये नहीं करना चाहिए था. अगर तुम ये नहीं करते तो ये नहीं हुआ होता. That is the first thing which comes out from our mind. Yeah. Family generally. So friends में जरूरी होता है that you will tell, okay, it was fine. But many a times we will start advising people rather than telling them that you did well. It still didn't happen and it's fine. So that's the element of self-love. The way we are telling or comforting our friend, are we doing it for ourselves also? Or we just change ourselves? Because compassion is to suffer with others, right? So if we see somebody who is homeless, do we go and check out? Or first of all, are we impacted or affected by his plight? That is number one. If we are affected by it, that's step number one. And second is, do we really take some step to support this person? That is overall compassion. So same thing, if we are doing it for ourselves, it becomes self-compassion, and self-love becomes most critical part of it. Like I was referring to my today's post, and I have written that few years ago, I was not in list of my to-do list. I was nowhere. There was no time for myself. I would not think about myself. And Shivani, you would agree with me. As women, we are told do everything for family. अपने बारे में तो, and we have seen also our mothers, they never took care of themselves. No time out for them. It's 365 days job, and all 3 times they have to work. So this is how I used to be, but then I realized that if like you rightly pointed in beginning, you cannot pour out from an empty cup. So if you don't love yourself, you can't do it for others. Second
Absolutely.
is uh, mindfulness, being non-judgmental. Like
Hmm.
when we meditate, we think that thoughts are coming as clouds. We look at them and we just let them go. This
Yeah.
is how we should look at things. And then question comes, then when do we think? How do we think? Because
Yeah.
thinking also is an important part whenever we have a situation, or like day to day life also, we need to think. So
Right.
we can have a separate time for thinking. We can do all the thinking there, but being mindful is important. Whether we are eating or we are walking or now we are talking, at times it would happen that our thoughts go somewhere else, even if we are talking live.
Yeah.
So that is another thing we have to do, because emotion should not be suppressed at any cost. The
Right.
moment we suppress them, they will come out in some form or other. If we are
Right.
not able to speak, they will come out in terms of diseases, and
Hmm.
we know there are many such diseases which manifest from these kind of thought process.
Right.
So that is about being non-judgmental about it, being mindful about it. And finally, the third part is, we already said that the way you explained that it's important to love yourself, to have that non-judgmental thinking, and think that it can happen with everybody. It's
Yes.
not that it only happens with us, and that's where the social connect helps. When I talk to somebody on social media, I would see that they have everything so good, right?
Yeah.
People would think that I am talking in so many forums, so I would be doing excellent in all talks. But now I'm sharing that this happens even with me, the goof of
Yes.
that I recently shared. So this is how we have to think about ourselves, and that's how compassion works.
Absolutely. Very, very, very well put, Gauri. And, I also think that a lot of times we tend to see, like you gave that example, that if you come and ask me that मुझे नहीं लगता कि मैंने अच्छा किया काम, and though even though I tried my best, but I still couldn't do it, because our first tendency is to see the negatives, the thing that we could not achieve, while as an outsider, as a friend, I would be able to first see your positives and actually bring you, make you aware of them, that okay, you did not remember that poem, wo nahi yaad aayi aapko, but the points that you said around this and this were really good and different. So I think it makes a lot of sense to now the question is, why to have that validation from outside, why to seek that validation from someone else, why not seek that validation from within, inside, that okay, I failed, nahi yaad raha mujhe, but I think I did well on these fronts. It's okay to be a little kind to yourself. I think self compassion for me is being kind to yourself first. It's okay, to fail at times, but what's important is after failing, after falling, you get up and you try again. That's when that tests the true character of a person.
Yes.
That's what I completely resonate with. So thanks for bringing those points. But Gauri, there are certain myths around self compassion. Now when we talk about self compassion, I think one of the biggest myths is कि self compassion का मतलब होता है self pity or feeling
Mm,
sorry for yourself. So
yeah.
what are your thoughts around it? What's that, that fine line of difference between self compassion and self pity?
Yeah. So research has proved that self compassion is actually antidote to self pity. It's not self pity. So in self pity, what we do, मैं नहीं कर पाई, मुझसे नहीं हो रहा है, मेरे साथ ही ऐसा क्यों होता है, that victim kind of thought process, that I'm
Yes.
good for nothing, is what self pity is. Now in self compassion, what we are doing is, while we are having that judgment away, but we are allowing our emotions to come out. So I can say that I couldn't do this, I am cognizant of this fact, but at the
Yeah.
same time, like you rightly said, I couldn't do this, but I have done these 10 things good. The way it
Right.
happens in institutes, right? Our teachers, if we remember, many a times we could not do well in exam or something. And our teachers would not come and shout at us, you couldn't do anything, you are cooked for nothing. Like Three Idiots said that if there's a negative result, it should not be displayed in public. So likewise, our teachers would also not announce it in the class. Only good, positive results would be announced. So
Right.
that is to eliminate that self-pity, because it tells you that you are good, but this particular thing didn't happen. And at the same
Yeah.
time, to give you that motivation also, because when we are in self-pity, we are just accepting this fact, we are not doing well, we could have put in extra efforts, and that actually demotivates us to take the next step. Whereas self-compassion will actually accept this also, but it would tell us at the same time that it might happen with anyone, let me move forward and take something else, or let me move forward and try it again. That's the
Right.
difference between self-pity and self-compassion.
Absolutely. And I think, like for me, the difference between self-pity and self-compassion is that self-pity का मतलब कि मेरे साथ ही ऐसा क्यों हुआ? मेरे साथ
Hmm.
हमेशा ऐसा होता है. Nothing that I have done wrong, but it
No
happens
luck.
with no luck. And self-compassion is that it happened to me. It was not in my control, but this was in my control and it did go right.
Yeah.
That's the
Right.
difference. That's the difference. The acceptance is the difference. That not
Absolutely.
always it is the luck, not always it is the destiny. Some amount of it is also our doing. And I think once that awareness comes in, instead of wallowing in self pity, we move to a more stronger concept. And like you very rightly said, it's an antidote. It's a vaccine, in fact, for self pity if you follow self compassion. So very, very, very pertinent. Another myth around self compassion is that it amounts to weakness. ये सेल्फ कंपैशन का मतलब है कि मैं वीक हूँ एज अ पर्सनालिटी. What is your take on that? It's a little sensitive topic, but I'd love to, know your thoughts around it.
Let me cite an example here. We will take a fictional character, say Rahul. I hope no Rahuls in the audience, and we are not talking about you.
Yes.
So this Rahul is a corporate guy, and we have seen many such Rahuls in our life. But let's take one. So बहुत काम करते हैं ये, और he is always busy with his work, no focus at home. Kids don't see him. His family don't see him. His wife doesn't see him, and ultimately there's challenge in the relationship. Now, when this
Yeah.
happens, and if it leads to a breakup of relationship, the advice from his friends would be, okay, it happened. Now, first of all, it would be self pity, right? Self realization and self acceptance, as you rightly pointed. So this Rahul will understand, मैंने कुछ गलत किया, I shouldn't have done it. But when his friends start telling him, okay, have some self compassion for yourself, have some love for yourself, and it has happened, just close it. Now, male ego, as we say in India, that men should never feel weak, right? So, which is changing, and which is changing for good. I'm very happy about
Yes.
it that even men are showing their tears, and it does not show that they are weak. So here,
Absolutely.
yeah. So here, when somebody tells him that, he will think, no, it's nothing for me, and I can come over it very easily. It's not a big deal for me. But inside, we know there is this disconnect, this dissonance, right? He's not happy about this breakup, but instead of considering more about what went wrong and accepting it, it's more about showing that strength. No, I'm very strong in face of these challenges, and I will be facing it. So that is difference. That is not self-compassion. Self-compassion is about accepting and then taking the next step forward, but accepting in positive sense. Vulnerability is not wrong.
Right.
Vulnerability is good. When we say that somebody is coming out openly, it's good, because again, emotions cannot be bottled up. So
Yeah.
weakness is not, self-compassion is not at all weakness. Rather, it is our strength, because it allows us to move forward much more
Right.
strong.
Absolutely. I think again something to ponder over, that
Yeah.
vulnerability is not bad. It's okay to be vulnerable at times. It's a part of life, and like you said, it's changing in India. The gender bias, that we have
Yes.
towards men that men shouldn't cry and men shouldn't express their emotions in public. A true man does not express his emotions in public. It's all changing, and it's changing for the good. And I think, in fact, it's the other way around. A true man would be honest and open about his emotions,
Yes,
and why not? At
absolutely.
the end of the day, being a man is also being a human being, and humans have emotions, and it's good to show your emotions. At least you're transparent about what you're feeling. So I think definitely what you have said is right, that self compassion is not, it's not self pity, it's not weakness. It's a way to get out of that weakness, that
Yeah.
vulnerability. So super insight to it. One last question, that I have, and then we'll move to the audience questions, because I can see there are a series of questions, that people are wanting to ask. Um, the question is that why is self-compassion so hard? And what can we do to accept ourselves the way we are and not look for affirmations from outside the world?
Very good question. It is definitely very, very hard. And the reason lies in how we have been brought up as a society. Because that
Right.
shame and fear of failure drives us. Fear is biggest driver, right? We all accept this. And fear of shame that if I'm not able to do this, how would I be seen? Is what
Hmm.
does not allow us to do it. And we also think one of the myths again that if we start having self compassion, we will become complacent because
Yeah.
we will think whatever happened, it happened and it can always happen. We will not be working hard towards it. But that's
Right.
where we have to bring in that balance that yes, it happened for whatever reasons, but I have to look forward. So why
Right.
we are not doing it? Because we have always been told to run after success, not
Yes.
after learning. Anything we do, any step we take, we should first know that what would be the possibility of winning, right? That's what we look at. If you
Yes.
ask somebody, even if it's a kid, you ask them, which rank did you get in the class or what was your percentage, especially 10, 12, we start from here, right? What
Yes.
percentage you got, and now we are seeing people are reaching 100% also, which was not there in our case, Shivani.
Yeah. Yes.
So this
I
is
feel
overall giving.
I personally feel very underscoring, even though I was a school topper. I still feel, oh my god, I can't share my score with today's children. Sorry, please continue.
Yeah, and again, it is taking to that maddening rush. Self esteem. We always teach our kids self esteem. We tell them you have to be better than everybody else. And there is so much competition also. So, as a society, we are doing it, but we are
Yeah.
not teaching our kids self compassion. And that is why it becomes critical that we don't tell them that you have to be better than others, but we tell them that you
Yeah.
have to be friends with yourself. You love yourself
Right.
first. Until few years ago, I had not heard about self compassion. I was not aware there's something which is called as self compassion. Then I went for my master's in psychology, and there
Hmm.
on the journey started, and I realized that it's so critical for us. So today I'm telling my daughter that she has to do it. If she's not able to perform, I'm not telling her that oh you were so bad. I'll tell her if her preparations were not enough according to me or according to her, but I will
Yeah.
not allow her to just brood over it and not come out of it. Now that she's
Right.
learning since childhood that I have to learn love myself, it is okay to fail, and we must bring out our emotions. She will
Right.
have this even in through her life. So that is, I'm putting it as a life skill for everybody. I
Very.
request and encourage people that teach this to teach your kids, because life skills are critical, resilience is critical. If they are not able to withstand that pressure that life gives us, they will break. And these are entitled kids, right? I'm sure
Yes.
you would agree with me, because when we are seeing this generation coming to work also, they need promotions every year, they need uh, all the time they need praise. But when
Yes.
life throws some challenge on them, they are not they don't know how to take care of it, because parents help them with everything. So
Yes.
if we are teaching people since childhood, it becomes easy. But if we have to do it like me, later on it would be difficult, but it is possible. And I am living with this principle, so I'm an example for it.
Very nice, very inspiring. Well, I think this example that you've given is very pertinent. That it depends on the way we've been brought up. And the times that you and I have grown up in, at that time, failure was never an option. I mean, anybody who would fail would be looked down upon, and even in our own houses, we would be compared to the neighbor's child. Uske itne marks aaye, you know.
शर्मा जी का बेटा.
हाँ, बिल्कुल, वो शर्मा जी का बेटा या बेटी, सो उसको इस कॉलेज में एडमिशन मिल गई, तुम्हें नहीं मिली, उसको इस कंपनी में प्लेसमेंट मिल गई, तुम्हें नहीं मिली. सो दैट प्रेशर that is there कि I have to do something in life to prove myself, because failure is not an option for me. I think that is what is important, and why we find it hard to practice self-compassion. And very, very well said that for the younger generation, the children, of tomorrow, people who are going to grow up, work in corporates, work in the professional arena, this life skill is very important, because, like you rightly said, they're all very entitled children. A small problem comes in, and there are parents, wanting to do everything in their doing to make it easy for them. But what we don't realize as parents is that we're not doing any benefit to the children. We're actually harming them in the long run. And yes, it definitely, for the younger generation, like you said, it should be a life skill. But even for the older generation, people like you and me, it's never too late to start. And it all starts with, first of all, being okay with rejection, being okay with failure. I mean, rejection is a part of life. Who has not got rejected? Tell me one person, today in this forum, who has not got rejected at some point in their lives, whether it is an interview, whether it is a marriage proposal, whether whether it is an admission in some college. We all have faced our shares of rejection, but it's important on how you take that rejection. Do you take it in your stride? And that is where self-love comes in, because if I love myself, I will not bother about any other person rejecting me. What should not happen is that I should not reject myself. That is the key.
Great.
Passion.
Very well said. Very well said. Yeah, and the bigger the success, more number of failures the person would have had. We see, we talk about J.K. Rowling, 12 rejections.
Yes.
So many. Disney, Amitabh. Yeah. Yes.
is a classic example. I mean, the voice that is used to, his baritone voice that we all are so proud of, and it's used everywhere, even on our phone. The COVID announcement happens.
Yes. Rejected.
From All India Radio, because he sort of had a very heavy voice. So life can turn around for anyone at any point in time. And I think what's important is to keep continuing to go. And
you brought out a very important point here, that the one who is judging you may not be the right judge also. Now, once Amitabh was a success, I'm sure this person who had rejected is stating that your voice is not good would have realized it, that he was not a good judge, or she was not a good judge.
So, he would have lost his job, I'm sure, after Amitabh. Okay, great.
There was one more question, Shivani, which somebody had written to me on LinkedIn. If we can take it up, the question was, what age we should start we should start picking up self-compassion. So if you are here and you are listening to this, the one who raised this question, like I just now said that I'm teaching this to my daughter. So for me, earlier the better. Once kids start understanding the outer world, they should be introduced to this concept of self-compassion, even meditation, because that really helps in long run. So when they do it over and over, and they see you as an example, that's important, because if you keep talking to them and keep telling them that self-compassion and self-love is important, but when you fail in something and you just sit like this, then they will know that it's not the right thing to do. Yes. So here I would strongly recommend that the earlier the better.
Super. So that's the question that was posted on LinkedIn, and we have a few more questions coming our way. So someone wants to know that how can we use self-compassion as an effective tool to reduce stress? How can we use it as a tool to reduce stress in our lives?
So stress is part of life, like we discussed, and there's no one who would not have, and some kind of stress is good also. Like before this session, I had some stress, whether it would go well or not, whether I'd be able to speak or not. So this positive stress helps us put in extra efforts and does not allow us to be complacent. So yeah, that is one part of it. That stress is important. But once it goes beyond limit, then it has psychological impact and physiological impact as well. Our stomach might be upset. There can be other diseases which we might fall for. So, so we have to bring in that balance that it should not go beyond a particular limit. And most of the things that were discussed for anxiety, I think would hold true here. For me, whenever I have some stress, I try to think about the particular thing in all aspects. And the question that I ask, there are two things that I ask. One is, would I be as stressful about this particular thing 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line? If it comes back to me 2 years down the line, would I be as stressful or would I be as impacted by this? Say, for example, in exams as a student, when we were not able to do well, we would cry and we do a lot of, we would not be happy about it. But now we look back and see that the one who got 50% is also doing well in life, just like
Yes.
somebody who got 80-85%, उससे ज़्यादा तो marks आते नहीं थे पहले. So somebody who is topper is also happy in life, and somebody who has 50% is also happy. So maybe that was not the time to spend so much thought on it, but we did it. So this is one of the thing. And second, what will happen if it happens like this? So even if it is, if it is an extreme situation that if this assignment is not submitted on time, then what will happen? What would be the consequences of it? Can I manage something there? And third and most important is, many a time stress, definitely there are certain life situation and COVID brought out many such situations, but people are stressed day to day life also. Say assignment is not submitted on time, or the KRAs are not met, even for these things. So procrastination is what I have seen leads to these things. For me also, whenever I have procrastinated, deadline has come, the quality of work is not so good and I'm stressed. So think about the reason why we have reached here so as to eliminate that reason. Second, would it really impact 5 months down the line? And third, what would be the consequences? If we think about consequences, I think we will get something that we can get over it. So for me, these are three things besides what we discussed during anxiety.
Right.
What would you add, Shivani?
I would add one thing here. I think everyone has a way of expressing their stress. So, like, a very pertinent example is, while we may think that, procrastinating leads to, low quality work, and it's something that stresses some of us. For some of us, it's a motivator. So,
Yes.
for example, Virat Kohli says that he works the best under pressure. When there is
Yes. There are some people, yeah, right.
300 runs, that's when the best out and comes out of him. And to be very honest, here's a confession, I'm also like that. Then that when there is pressure, when I'm nearing the deadline, that's when I'll start doing, and I do wonderful then. And somehow my mind works and under pressure. So I feel, it's the way you handle stress. And like you said, there's positive stress and there's negative stress. Positive stress is something that really motivates us to do better in life, and it's good to have it. Like you, I was also nervous before this webinar that what if the electricity goes, and what if the StreamYard stops and the FB yard stops. But it's okay. It's a part of life. So that was the positive stress, which made sure I have a router here with me for backup, so that I don't we don't get stuck into that situation. So that's a positive stress, which forces one to think of alternate solutions. But negative stress is something that starts hampering our day-to-day life, and that's something that we should not fall in the trap of, because that has long-term repercussions. And something that is really affecting the peace of mind, I feel, is not worth it. There is only one life to live, and it's not worth taking so much stress on. Not worth it at all. We see people around us especially in this time, who've lost their lives untimely, forces us to it's too short. Life is too short to worry about small things. So yeah, that's my addition to this, my one bite to this question.
Wonderful addition.
Okay, I think we we're nearing our time of completion.
Yeah.
It's been a wonderful conversation, Gauri. I've really enjoyed this conversation with you, and I'm sure our audience have also enjoyed it. Thank you so much for taking out time and coming to speak with us, share your insights, share your experiences. And this is a very, very valid topic and a very relevant topic in today's times. I'm sure people today have taken back a lot with them from this conversation. So my big thanks on behalf of Positive Vibes and myself. And I look
Thank you
forward
so
to
much.
continuing this conversation. We could go on and on, I'm sure, but there's a
Yes.
time constraint.
Uh, So thank you so much, Shivani, and thank you so much, audience. I can see a lot of comments here. Some we could not address, so I would request you to bring it to LinkedIn, and we can address it there. And it was really amazing, Shivani. I loved your thought processes, and there's a lot of learning there. So I'm sure audience would have got benefited as well. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for attending. Stay tuned for more such episodes on Leadership Spotlight series with Positive Vibes. Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day once again. Enjoy yourselves. Good afternoon.